Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Tuesday, the 11th, 12th, 15th of, I have no idea what day it is, the 15th of March, maybe. It is Tuesday of Holy Week. That's the important thing. That this week is the week that we walk with Jesus toward the cross. It is a week that we take opportunity to really reflect on what it is to be a Christian and what it is to think about who Christ is for us. Even if you're not a Christian, this is a great opportunity, and there's lots of resources out there online and things like that to actually sort of dive in and see what is it that all this Holy Week thing about. For me, it is an opportunity for reflection because as a bishop, it's a very different schedule for me. When I was a parish priest, Holy Week looked like parish services on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Thursday would be Maundy Thursday services. And Maundy Thursday for me, since I was ordained a priest, has always looked like a service or services, if I had multiple churches, which I usually did, services where we would have what's referred to as the washing of the feet. So in the gospel, Jesus talks about, there's a story about at the upper room at the Last Supper, Jesus calls all the disciples together. They're going to eat a meal. And before the meal begins, he prepares them by washing their feet. Now, they didn't have paved roads back then and concrete the way we do and Nike shoes with, super socks. They had sandals and dirt roads. So it'd be quite customary for the host to, or someone from the host's household, to wash the feet of their guests, to prepare them for the meal, to come into the home. Kind of like in Canada, or at least where I grew up, you come in, you take your shoes off. It's seldom do I walk into someone's house without taking my shoes off. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is, or even what they say, you don't need to do that. For me, taking my shoes off is a sign of respect. And it's a respect for my host or hostess. So take my shoes off. So Jesus took the time to wash their feet. And now, for many of the disciples, they really had a problem with this because, you're you're the master. You shouldn't be washing our feet. But we do this during church services, and quite often it is the priest or the deacon or both, or in this case the bishop, who washes the feet of the parishioners. Some places will have people come in who are chosen ahead of time to do so, but I always like to leave it open that those who wish may come forward. People have issues with their feet. Not, I have yet to see a beautiful foot, really. Over the years, I have washed a lot of feet, and none of them have been, call your mother about this foot. They're just feet. But think about what our feet do. They hold us up. They get us place to place. They give us balance. All of those things. Our feet are so very important to us. So on Maundy Thursday, I have always taken the opportunity, when available, to wash people's feet. And then we institute the Lord's Supper. So we have communion service. And then we do this beautiful thing. It's a very painful thing too, but we do this very beautiful thing where we strip the altar, we strip the church of all the trappings. Anything that can't be moved, we clothe in black or purple. Other things are removed, all the gold, all the colorful hangings. And so when that is done, the altar is bare, a bare wooden table. There is nothing there to show hope or glory or peace. And quite often during that time, I'm busy. I'm helping to strip the altar, or I'm reading the 22nd Psalm, verses 1 to 22, I believe it is, which begins, my God, why have you forsaken me? Very, very powerful psalm. And because I'm doing that, I'm not seeing what's happening. I'm usually standing toward the back of the church facing the altar with my Bible in my hand. And when I look up when I'm done, the lights are dim, the altar is bare, there is no color in the church, and it sort of like breaks your heart, recognizing that Jesus has gone to the Garden of Gethsemane. And in churches that I have had, I've often had what we call a vigil with the sacrament. So we celebrate the Eucharist, the communion, and we keep extra bread and wine, and we place it on a table, a bare table, with candles, and then we sit with it through the night. People come, and as they're invited, and Jesus invited them to come, his disciples, to just come and pray with me a while. And so we invite people to come into the church and throughout the night and pray. And in my churches, I have often tried to keep the doors unlocked. And we've had a schedule of people who would come in throughout the night and pray. And I would fill in all the hours that weren't covered. But once we did this in my parishes after the first year, I usually didn't have any problem getting people to come. Even 2, 3, 4 in the morning, people would get out of bed, come back to the church, and sit and pray for an hour or two with the sacrament in the silence, in the dark. The only light is the 4 candles surrounding the bread and the wine. They're covered with a cloth. And then through the night we do that. And then Good Friday morning, we come back into the church and we have the Good Friday service, which is hard, it's heavy, it's powerful. And then we do not celebrate the Eucharist, we commemorate. We receive the reserved sacrament. We take the bread and the wine. The only prayer that we offer is the Lord's Prayer. And there are people who disagree with me about that and people who agree. We've had this discussion. I have found it very powerful that on Good Friday to receive the blood and the body of Christ that were given and shared the night before when we stayed with Christ, with Jesus in the garden. As we watched, as we listened to the story of Jesus being flogged and then hung on the cross, we already as Christian people know that Easter Sunday is coming. We don't pretend that there isn't an Easter, that communion doesn't exist. That's why I'm okay with this. But to receive that nourishment of the body and blood of Christ on that most holy of hard days of Good Friday is really powerful. But it all begins with that Maundy Thursday service that goes on. We consider that to be one service. So starting on Maundy Thursday, the Paschal Triduum, the Paschal 3 days, starting Thursday evening and going to Saturday night when we have Easter Vigil, it's one service where there's no dismissal. It's understood that we leave the church and we come back, but it's ongoing. And it's a really powerful time. And as a bishop, though, I don't have my own church. I have many churches, but most of them have priests in them, who do their own thing with their parishes. And so the Holy Week, for me, takes on a completely different rhythm. It is not a series of go, 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 and then Sunday afternoon collapse. Joyfully collapse, but collapse nonetheless. For me, Holy Week has become a time of quiet reflection, a time when my phone doesn't ring and I don't get very many emails and I have an opportunity to, plow through and get some work done. But I'm discovering that maybe not. Maybe I need to simply be, to pray, to read, to be in the church. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we will have a gathering with the clergy come into the church and we celebrate a Eucharist together and we reaffirm our ordination vows of who we are. And we bless the holy oil that will be used for baptisms and for healing and for extreme unction for people who are dying. We celebrate these things with a completely different tone during Holy Week. And that's a good thing. We just take this time to just sort of breathe and be calm. And I really pray this Holy Week in particular that for all of us, especially in North America, as Canadians are preparing in just a couple of weeks, just under 2 weeks, for our election, that as we prepare, as the Americans to the south of us are dealing with whatever is chaotically happening today, this week, I pray that you will find some time to just be peaceful this week, to listen and be present to how the Lord is speaking to you in this moment, knowing that no matter how long our Holy Week may be, no matter how difficult our Good Friday might seem, it may even become a season in our lives. Easter will come. Joy will rise with Jesus. Hope will be seen again, and all shall be well. But before we can get there, we have to walk through here. So I pray that your Holy Week, your Holy Tuesday, will be a gentle Tuesday, one in which you can listen and prepare and pray. God bless you. I will see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.